Welcome to the PoliTainment Report. I'm your host, Maleena Lawrence, and today our guest is Mr. Damian Smith, an actor and an activist in the community here in Los Angeles. We are with Damian today to discuss his experience in the 2012 campaign and actually his contribution to the 2012 campaign and also an upcoming project that he's working on. So without further ado, I'd like to invite and welcome Damian Smith to the show. Welcome.
Welcome.
So Damian, I'm gonna just drop it up because we actually go a little ways back, and this year, 2012, the year is coming to an end. This is post-election, so we've been talking to people within the community, artists, activists, consultants, strategists, people who actually have participated in some capacity in the 2012 election, local or nationally. The unique thing with Damian here is that he actually contributed to the national work of this campaign and getting out the vote. So what was that like, and tell us about the project you worked on and the name of the project.
Well, the name of the project was, I was working with the 1911 United Obama Super PAC. So what it was, a group of guys got together, formed a Super PAC. It was the only all-black Super PAC touring the nation. And what we did, we went to all the battleground states. We went from North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida. We even went to New Orleans, which wasn't a battleground state, but we wanted to mobilize people and get people going about getting Brother Barack Obama back in the office. So we had a big bus, a big bus. It was wrapped tour bus. We went into each state. We mobilized. We got people signed up to volunteer, and also we got people signed up and registered to vote in states that we can, because some states you can't do it, some states you can't. You have to be, on the board and city official if you can be on the board, and also signed up as a organization just to sign people bipartisan. Since we weren't bipartisan, we couldn't do it, but we got people going to energize. And what I got an email from my uncle about 2 weeks ago, which surprised me. He's like, "Hey man, I really appreciate your work and things that you did for the campaign," which I didn't think about it, but all the states that we were in, all the battleground states that we were in, getting people signed up and energizing the base and performing, a whole lot of things would happen. Those were the states that we won, and those were the ones that we needed. And if he would have lost one of those battleground states, we don't know, it might be a different outcome.
Now, in regards to the battleground states and the election, I want to back up just a little bit to the tour itself. 1911, is there a significance in 1911? And if so, what is the significance?
1911 comes, that's the year that the Kappas and the Qs were formed. I'm neither. I'm non-denominational.
You really nonpartisan.
Very nonpartisan, exactly, when it comes to that. But the way I got hooked up with that is that I co-wrote a political cartoon about the ex-mayor of D.C., Adrian Fenty. So the guy who commissioned me to do that knew some other work that I'd done, and he really wanted me to come and be a part of this. And he was the chief financial officer for the Super PAC, and he flew me into I flew into Fayetteville, North Carolina. So that, again, to answer your question, that's the year that the Kappas and the Qs were formed in 1911, and these were Kappa and Qs who put this together. So they had step shows. They performed step shows. They did open mic. They did and they had a comedy show. They brought in like comics that came in, a lot of Qs. Who was the guy from St. Louis? I'm from St. Louis. That's a shame. Joe Torre. Joe Torre came and performed at one event, and they did fundraisers and everything. So we did this in every city and state. So it was 7 battleground states. I think I personally went to around 20 cities, and but they actually
20 cities, but within the 7 states that you traveled to.
Yeah, within the 7 states, and within seven states. And then I think they did more. They went to more cities and things like that. But I was doing a show at the time. It just happened I was finishing up a play, 12 by 9, that I was in. And as soon as the show was over, I hopped in a plane and went over there. And then, to finish then I got to finish it up. And then I came back to Los Angeles for a couple weeks, then flew back out, went to Ohio again, went back to Pennsylvania, and then went back to North Carolina and went to the Democratic National Convention and was there. And, that's pretty much you're preaching to the choir, but you want to drum up the excitement for Brother Obama. So that's what we did. So we was in there and getting in, signing people. We was in the real hoods too.
No, I get it. When you went to the different cities, I was reading too that their goal, the 1911 goal, as many organizations had goals in registering voters, they had a goal of registering 1 million voters. So how successful, do you know how successful you guys were to achieving your goal?
Well, what was happening was that if you can, we got close. We got close just ourselves, but it was set up like this. Like if we can get you to participate and you can volunteer, and all you have to do is touch 10 more people. And if you can, we sign you up, and you can guarantee that you can at least have a presence with 10 other people, that will spread out. And that's how people get that's how momentum get going. So that's what we did, and we signed up. We registered these people, but also we signed these people up to volunteer. And volunteering wasn't just you have to be in the streets. You pledge that you will be in contact with 10 other people, and those 10 people spread out, and then that's how it goes. So we were able to get a lot of people signed up to vote, register to vote, and sign people up for volunteer to get the word, drum up support for Obama, and get his talking points out. Because I think that was another issue with this election, that people really didn't know the talking points to his policies and things that he's actually trying to do for you. And it was real funny because in them southern states, man, we had some sticky situations.
No, and okay, so let's not just beat around the bush here. Let's not beat around the sticky situations. And before we get to the play 12 by 9 that's actually coming back to LA in the theater, what were some of those sticky situations? I had talked to Damien. I was like, you got to keep me informed. Tell me what you're doing. I was vicariously living in at the Democratic convention and other conventions that were happening thereafter to find out what was literally happening on the ground and how people were responding. Because honestly, in those southern states, I hear that the racial tension was up. People were even, afraid about their vote being counted. So what kind of experiences were you experiencing?
Being flicked off was a norm for us. Like, we were flicked off, giving the bird 1,000,000 times. People driving in cars. Like, we were passing our paraphernalia. We had big get out and vote signs and posters and Obama 2012 things we were passing out. People walk by, flick us off. People drive by, flick us off.
That was normal.
That was normal. On the highway was another thing. We're in a big black bus. Let me describe this for everybody. A big black bus, double deck, is a big bus with a huge picture of Obama on it. You're surrounded by the words that we are family, 1911 united. It was a beautiful bus driving through the Everglades of Florida.
It was very official.
Yes. Driving through South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Ohio. Ohio wasn't that bad. Indiana was the worst. Really? Indiana was worse. It was surprising to me.
What made it worse?
They were just out. They had like mock lynchings of Obama. They had they were saying, like, people would say the N-word easily, freely. Like,
you talk to voters, or?
Well, in passing, at the Democratic National Convention in North Carolina, we down there, and it's these 4 or 5 big white guys, cut off, plaid shirts. I'm describing the situation. You label it whatever way you want.
Good old boys.
You can call it that. The hats on with Confederate flag, in a pickup, and with a flatbed behind it. They're dragging a mock lynching with Obama, and I think it's Condoleezza Rice and Colin Powell and someone else hanging from a noose. Nooses.
Are you serious?
Driving the main street in front of the convention. The main street.
See, we didn't get that on mainstream TV. We didn't get that on CNN. We didn't get that nowhere, but we getting this right here on this PoliTainment Report. And actually, the point that Damien just made is that racism and people who are racist actually have no... It goes past political affiliations of Republican, Democrat, Green, independent. It doesn't matter. And I think that you being a part of you were part of a partisan campaign doing GOTV because it's a super PAC.
Political Action Committee.
Okay. And Anyway, I just want to make that quick point.
Yeah, it was really, really intense. And we'll stop in, like, if you got a bus, the bus, we gotta jump, you gotta get new water and stuff. So there's filling stations. So we'll stop there, and it's usually owned by someone back road that knows it. So this guy rolls up with his it's so funny. He has a customized lawnmower, the driving one, but I'm not even exaggerating. He's at least 300 to 400 pounds. He can't really move. Fat, big legs, which represent he might have diabetes. Spots on his face, complexion not clear. He has health issues, you can tell. And rolled up on us. We get in the water and everything. Yeah. So we talking to him. Hey man, we doing this. Would you think about voting for Obama? Not going to vote for him. Why not? Because I don't like him. Oh, what don't you like about him, sir? Just don't like him. Then he put a smirk on his face. I just don't like him. What don't you? Is it anything that he can do to make you like him, or make him anything he can do, any policies he can present that'll make you feel better about him? Nah, I just don't like him. And he has 4 of his friends with a couple missing teeth, and another couple friends that big old guys. And I'm looking at this guy. He will benefit from universal health care. Right. He has several pre-existing conditions. Your health care, your health care premiums must be ridiculous, or if you have it, because no one's really going to cover you the way that you're looking. So you are going to directly benefit. And I told him, I said, you're going to directly benefit from Obamacare. So I said, you're going to benefit from it, from the health conditions that you have. He's helping you.
And what did he say to that?
I just don't like him. That's what he said to me. I'm not even making this up. I just don't like him. Okay, this one at one point you can't beat a dead horse. Hey man, have a good day. And I said, you going to tell us who you're going to vote for? No, it's okay. I keep it to myself. Okay, and keep it moving. But that was kind of like a common theme. That's a extreme, but it's like a common theme that we was coming up, that people who were voting against their best interest. Like, you're voting against your best interest, and you're voting for people who already are established and have the means to take care of themselves, or the means to just pay off what they need to pay off. And listen, I'm a registered independent. I'm not a Democrat, not a Republican. I'm registered independent because I feel that each party have issues, and each party have their positive aspects to it too. In my opinion, I just look at the list of topics, issues that I have, and what relate closely to how I feel about human beings in society, and I go with that party when it comes to voting. At this time, it was the Democratic Party that presented the best options for the society, and sometimes not just the best options for me personally. Like, I could benefit a lot more under certain other regimes, but as a whole, as America, we need something that can benefit the majority of us.
Now, you mentioned healthcare. Mm-hmm. Were there other things that were perhaps new to you while touring that you found out about in regards to the president's talking points, so that when you spoke with people, you said, wow, I wish I had known this before, because I would have shared it with so-and-so had I known? Were there any issues, other issues or platforms?
I don't think there was any issues that I was ignorant about that I wish I knew beforehand. But what was surprising to me was that, like, I would ask people questions like, is there a particular policy that Obama put into place that you're happy about, or benefits you the most, or you were directly affected, or your friends? And the variety of answers that I was getting, the normal was Obamacare, but then people will go into his how he's student loans, restructuring student loans, and just coming with all these type of things that just made me feel so good about having educated voters out there. Mm-hmm. The educated voters are the best thing, because they're choosing who they want to represent.